Welcome to my channel, to all my fantastic friends. The 3 hours, the prophecy. In this video, we're gonna be talking about the 3 hours, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be 3 hours long, since I know you have better things to do. So sit back and relax, and won't take much time, no more than 3 hours. As we're gonna talk about the one and only Parravicini, who is talking about the 3 hours. As I mentioned before in my previous videos, can't say enough of the importance of the prophecies of Parravicini, who became famous after the 9/11 events, and also many psychographies that he accurately prophesies, as we read in this psychography. Way back in 1939, the freedom of North America will lose its light. Its torch will not shine like yesterday, and the monument will be attacked twice. He wrote that almost 60 years before it happened, as well as the Fukushima bomb. As he wrote, noises of noises will ignite the heights, the bomb F. Following along with the next psychography, the dog will be the first flyer, as Laika, the Russian puppy, was the first dog in space, making it 15 years before it happened, as well as the current situation we faced back in 2020 with the pandemic. As he wrote, sore throat will be the beginning of the world plague. He wrote that, as well as this other psychography, the unseen war, without being declared, the world will live through it without seeing it, and will get used to it. Labyrinth of costumes will blind until the great thunder comes. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1939. The Great Thunder means the beginning of the World War III, since he also mentioned the danger of the atom. He also mentioned that at first wasn't going to be used nuclear weapons, but it will escalate. As we continue to look at the drawing, we notice that Parravicini even drew the PCR test, and on the forehead, I could be wrong, but it looks like the mark of the beast, the 666, but that is a question mark. So I happened to notice in the drawings the Wuhan logo on the side of the drawings. It's something to think about, as well as paying attention of all his work, since he's been right as far as we see. So you see here, there's many psychographies being already fulfilled. So you need to see my past videos in order to understand and start catching up. Otherwise, you will be left behind. In the next psychography reads as follows. Men of the hour, ground to be. It is already the hour of the hour. Meditate. Despair arrives. The consolation will come. Do not forget it. It's the hour of the mandate. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1961. In here, Parravicini is telling us to reflect and observe everything that is around us because everything is about to change, as we're gonna read in the next psychographies. Also, Parravicini talks about these changes that will mark the end of this civilization. And these are the signs to look for. As we read, it is already. The time of change is now. The man admits it very slyly, so much as not to be left behind by his fellow men, who in turn will do exactly the same, so as not to confess his incredulity tactic and his zero disability. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1971. Here, Parravicini is pointing out that is crazy stuff going on around the world, and a lot of people are going to refuse this kind of knowledge and will not believe it until it happens to them and regards this as a crazy stuff. As we continue to explain about the 3 hours, and it reads as follows. Already the hour of the 3 hours in the era of the 3 times began. So Parravicini is saying in here that we are definitely in the 3 hours. As we're going to explain, these 3 hours are going to be divided by 3 times, which is the 10, the 11, and the 12. As we're going to explain soon time, as we have now these hours coming into effect. As we continue to read and explain in detail, the 10 hour brings the beginning of the end. The 11 hour, the endless end. The 12 hour, the end of the end. Until the beginning. As we can see clearly in here, Parravicini is not talking about regular time. In fact, he's talking about stages. The 10 will be the early stage. The 11 will be the teenager years or adult years. And the 12 will be the golden years. Used as an example, the stages means the approaching of the end of this civilization. We're going to describe the 3 hours as stages or periods of time, as we cannot place a determined time of this kind of stages, since it's hard to tell until we see the events unfolding, but we can check for the signs which tell us what's the characteristics of that. As Jesus says that in the lesson of the fig tree, as he mentions, look at the fig tree and all the trees. As soon as they come out in the leaf, you see for yourself and know that the summer is already near. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that the kingdom of God is near. So also, when you see these things taking place, we will see the approaching of the times. As we're gonna take a look and dig in deep into the closer signs, which be the 10, the 11, and the 12. As we see, The 10 are the warnings. That will be the 10 hour, the warnings. The 11 hour are the disasters or the apocalypse or tribulation, as they say in the Bible. And the 12 will be the reconstruction, which marks a new beginning for a new civilization. Until the beginning, that means a fresh new conscience made with love and compassion. So we will begin with number 10, which is the beginning of the end. As we can see in this psychography, Parravicini drawing in 1972, the hour 10 brings the beginning of the end. That means that we are going to experience the beginning of something that is not quite right. As we read, the truth will be told in temples, squares, streets, walks, but men will not listen, because it will be in death without death, but death. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. Parravicini is saying that humanity is gonna have all kinds of warnings, but we are not going to listen. As we're gonna take a closer look to the characteristics of the hour 10, and it reads as follows: Walker, you who are listening, coming to the earth is the overflow of the cataclysm. The seas, already angry, will climb countries. The rivers will flood regions. Craters will thunder super black. Giant rains will fall. Snows will cover the unexpected. Heats of fire will set fire to areas. The soil will crack in terrible snoring. The fumes will rise in burning columns. The flesh of the weary men will come off. Their bones, alive, will seek death that will not be. Because the hour of terror will have ordered, and it will be the 10th hour. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1966. In here, Parravicini is talking about the climate change we are facing and will be increasing, because the 10th hour is the beginning of the end. As Parravicini mentions that we are the men of the hour, as this generation is facing this hour. As we continue to read, noises in the bowels of the world, noises in his coverage, noises in men, causes the 10th hour in punishment. In here, Parravicini is talking about the noises of starting of problems between man, climate, and the earth. As we see in the psychography, the earth is breaking apart. And also notice that in Parravicini drawings are two people holding the earth back in place safely. So as we continue to read the hour 10, which is the beginning of the end. It reads as follows. Already the sun in the clouds is already the rainy cloud. Is already the disappointment in rains. It is already the unreason in rigor. It's already dark. 'Cause it's the 10 o'clock. 'Cause it's the beginning of the end. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. In here, Parravicini is clearly talking about climate change. And he continues to explain about the hour 10, and it reads as follows. The waters will climb mountains. I said yesterday. The waters will catch the mines. I say today. Well, for the eye of the one that sees in him its bitterness, will try to help the one who sinks. The waters will arrive while by day in more and more. The waters have already hindered human bodies and have clouded their minds. Those that seem clear, they are already confused. And from the confusion, the light will appear, the one that will come from the high. Is coming. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. Prophecy of 1972. Means the Great Order, as I explained in my previous video. Parravicini in here continuously remarks about the climate change that will be slowly intensifying until we have a complete problem in our hands and gradually intensifying more and more until we have a complete disaster due to our reckless ways of treating our home world. As we continue to read the next psychography, at the end of the time, in the first hour, once again the astronavigators of yesterday will descend to Earth, bearing his warnings. These blue beings will live life with the blind men. Their ship will be kept on high peaks of mountainous regions. Within its already known craters, the astral spaceship will do good to the terrestrial without being warned. In this psychography, Parravicini is telling us that these higher beings that are going to be giving us warnings that now and then we call now extraterrestrials are the famous astronavigators of yesterday that Parravicini talks about. They are definitely the angels or messengers the Bible spoke about of the ancient times. And these messages are coming through telepathic dreams and also the famous crop circles, as well as UFO sightings, the real ones, as well as credible UFO contactees who have important messages for humanity. because I am completely sure, without a doubt, that is definitely life all over the universe and in different dimensions and frequencies, because the source of everything, visible and invisible, the source that created the matter and antimatter, the one that pretty much created everything we see and don't see, the one that we cannot measure, therefore is unnamed, and definitely the source of the cosmos, which contains everything, all the particles, the source of pretty much everything, which is infinite, the source of everything innate, that in which all live and move and have our being. We need to acknowledge that we are not alone in the universe. And our universe has a duality. As Jesus says, go beyond the mind. As he insisted, go beyond the mind. Listen, go beyond the mind. Change your thinking. Transform your thinking. Because the amazing power of the realm of the source, this amazing power of the cosmos is available to you. As we see, we have the ability to be open-minded and see that we have our cosmic friends that are trying to make us aware of the events coming to the future. When Parravicini mentions that the astral spaceship will do good without being warned, it means that we haven't been aware that if we take a closer look at our atmosphere, we have, in many instances, that the pollution magically disappears. That is due to the fact that we are being helped by them, our cosmic friends. Otherwise, the pollution we create by everyone will be unbearable at this point, including the oil spills, and also help stabilizing the earth, which is pretty insane without our knowing. But that is gonna be for another video. As we continue to read, meditate. Gentlemen, meditate. Meditate. This world is about to experience a new force that will do good and evil, that will raise men to other planets, or will disintegrate the world, in which case the chaos will save from total destruction. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1938. As you see here, we need to really think, because according to our actions, we'll be facing some serious consequences as we continue to the hour 11, which is the endless end. This hour is truly the beginning, what they call them the apocalypse of the tribulations in the Bible. and it reads as follows. The hour of the great tribulation has arrived. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1938. In here, he's pointing out about the disasters that we're gonna be facing in this hour 11. Also, I happen to notice that in Parravicini's drawing, we can see something that looks like Sor Juana Inés, that is a symbol for Mexico, which is in some of the Mexican pesos. As well, we can see that there is like an earthquake or something like that in the symbols, because we notice that there's buildings going down. Also, the one in the middle looks like the iconic monument that is in Mexico City, which is the Monument of Revolution. But I could be guessing wrong. But something that really makes me wonder is that several UFO contactees told about the big changes of the earth will start in Mexico. That's why some famous contactees have said about the big changes of the earth taking place in Mexico. That will be one of the big signs to look for, as contactee Alberto Secua, who passed away recently, says about Mexico, as well as famous contactee Stan Romanek, who has a movie on Netflix which is called Extraordinary. The information he provided is not in the movie. It was in an independent meeting who he gathered 20 reporters, which video was somehow deleted from the internet. I believe he got framed. But that's the thing they do when you expose something that is behind the curtains. But in that video, he talks about the big changes of the earth starting in Mexico. And after spreading to the whole world right after that. But strangely, there is some similarities in the Bible as well, especially in Revelations 12, in the story of the woman and the dragon. And the story starts like this. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. In here he is, it looks like pretty much to the sign of the Virgin of Guadalupe in Mexico. Or could be constellations in the universe. But it's kind of strange that these her celebrations start on the 12th of December, and in Revelations is on the 12th too. When they talking about the pregnancy in pain, is that I guess it's the planet suffering and the new birth of the new humanity, and that will be the sign to look for. Also, the 12 stars, it could mean the 12 planets our solar system has. That will be the regular planets, the 9, the one that got destroyed, that I think the name is Maldek, which is in the asteroid belt, and Tiamat. And the other one coming is the planet X or Herculobus. That one is coming in a elliptical way, as the woman in the Bible that they talk about represents humanity, giving birth to a new humanity with different conscience and way of thinking. As we see the woman in the Bible in Revelations 12:14, it says the woman was given the 2 wings of the great eagle. I believe is the one in Mexico. Maybe something is gonna happen there that will be a sign of the Great Tribulation. But maybe I could be wrong. But that's my interpretation. Take it as a grain of salt. I apologize if it's wrong. As we continue to read the hour 11, which is the endless end. As we continue to read, the stage of chaos comes. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1940. In here, Parravicini is pointing out that it's going to be a huge chaos in the world that will affect each and every one of us. Also, I happen to notice that several people pointing out at some object in the sky. And also, I noticed that there's like a candle going down in the water, referring as the candle as the light going away, as life going down. In the hour 11, as we take a closer look at the hour 11, which reads as follows. It's already time 11. It is in the change of the first change. It is in the song of the 7 songs. In the chosen one of the chosen 7. In the destiny of the 7 destinations. In this psychography, it's hard to tell, but I think Parravicini here is referring to the 7 signs of the book of Revelations, which is a constant fact, which also the Bible talks about, which is referring to the 7 chakras we have, which also corresponds to the 7 layers of the universe, which are also on the book of the Law of One that you can find online. Also, Parravicini could mean something else. Maybe Parravicini is talking about 7 destinies or 7 trumpets of the apocalypse, as that could be the starting of the tribulations. But that's my interpretations. You could do your own as well, as we are searching for the truth. As we continue to read about the hour 11, as we continue to read, beginning of the end, the orchestra man of North America will be dead. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. In here, I don't know, but pretty much looks like Trump, because he has a lot of trumpets on his drawing. I think he's talking about him, for sure. But that's my interpretation. You could do your own. But at that time, talking about Trump will be pretty insane, as he spoke as well about John F. Kennedy. Parravicini said that 20 years before it happened to John F. Kennedy. And here are some of the signs to be aware before we approach the more dangerous times, which is the hour 11. So make sure you put attention and follow the signs as you can see beforehand and prepare. As you can see in here, I'm not gonna say the name because I already say it and it's kind of obvious as you can see in your screen. To see if that happens, you know that will be the beginning of the end. As we can see here that guy is already 76 years old. So by humanity standards, we last, if we're lucky, 100 years or so. So do your math and start preparing because I don't think he's gonna last more than 90 or 80 something. So we have very few years until this goes to hell. As we continue with another major sign to look for, it reads as follows. Electric music will be in conjunction with the black, but will devastate the world, and with it, the world will march slave towards the final chaos. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. And here he's talking about a new type of music that we'll be hearing. So as soon as we hear that crazy music, that will be a red flag and a sign to run. Since that music will mark the final chaos, which is the pole shift, or our major nuclear explosion. In that case, either or, we better run away from it, and also, if it's the pole shift, to higher grounds. But I think it will be better idea to start preparing now, mentally, physically, and spiritually for this event, as it's gonna be a rough awakening for humanity. As we see the next sign, beggars over the world abound in the end of the end. So in here Parravicini is telling us that's going to be one of the major signs, and we're going to start seeing a lot of people homeless, as that's going to be one of red flags to look for, as we see that already in major cities around the globe. As we see the next sign, this is not about classifying people, but to see and to be aware of the signs of the hour 11, which is the most turbulent hour. As we read, but this time I won't say the word because it will be not good for the system. As I will be reading it, but I won't say, will say the first syllable. And it reads as follows. There is. The S will separate. More will be found in S. That is, in identical X's. A new X will be imposed on them. S will return in yesterday's searches. The human being at first had them. Diverting S will announce the end of endings and the beginning of beginning. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. In here, Parravicini is very specific about when we see stuff getting really weird, it's a major flag to look for. As Jesus says as well about the end of days being very similar to the Sodom and Gomorrah time, that everybody was dancing and singing and everybody got caught unexpected. Only the ones that prepare save their asses, I guess. As we continue with the hour 11, and it reads as follows: humanity will be imprisoned by fear in the end. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. 1938. I don't know about here, but I think it could be the lockdowns we face back in 2020, but it could be something else or something like a war or another thing that it will force people to be locked down. But to say that in 1938 is truly shocking. He wrote that, as you can see clearly in the psychography, 1938. That is unbelievable. In the next psychography reads as follows: the madness exalted in leaders will be the cause of the great chaos. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1936. In this psychography, Parravicini is really pointing out that the politicians are going to be the ones causing this great chaos, that it will be hard to be stopped unless there is enough people doing something about it. But it's very unlikely because people tend to comply at everything they throw at them. So it would be very hard to stop. As Parravicini mentions that humanity marches into chaos in his psychography. This psychography was made in 1938. As we can see that humanity is really marching into dangerous times. As we see in his picture that Parravicini draw that humanity is completely blind and is really going into a bad direction, because he points out that this is going to lead to World War III and it will be nuclear. He's pointing that multiple times. It's not even funny. As the planet and all the species are going to be suffering as well. So we really need to think about and start preparing. Something that really stands out with Parravicini is that he was completely accurate, pinpointing in the maps or drawings, in his prophetic drawings, the exact location the bomb exploded. As we see that Parravicini always was accurate in his maps, so I happened to notice that in this map, the star being or cosmic friend is showing us a direction with his hand, and it looks like the New York landscape for some reason. His hand is exactly the same as the Manhattan outlines. As you can see, the beam is pointing at explosive detonation in New York. So we need to watch out for that because Parravicini usually places locations in the drawings. Maybe I could be wrong, but something tells me I'm not. So we need to watch out for this. As we see in his other psychography he wrote about the Twin Towers, the 9/11, he says the monument will be attacked twice, but as we see, one attack was done that day. But I think he meant to say two different times because we see buildings going down and collapsing and a big explosion on the back. It looks like to me as a nuclear explosion. But judge for yourselves. But I think definitely is that. To be honest, I didn't want to say this because it's only a dream I recently had a few days ago. But I feel it in my heart to speak about it because it was a really vivid dream and it has something to do with this drawing of Parravicini. And also, I have the same vivid dream before when the Twin Towers incident happened 2 months before I saw the towers and I didn't even know those buildings before. So I think it's good to speak about it. Anyways, my dream was like this. For some strange reason, I was seemed to be in a wedding in New York City. I remember asking where I was. Somebody told me it was Lower Manhattan. I don't remember what time exactly was it, but I imagine that the wedding was not in the daytime. It was more between afternoon, somewhere around that. I was inside a big complex with lots of people celebrating the wedding. And for some reason, watching out for this kid, which seemed to have between 3 or 4 years old. I seemed to be taking care of him. I was chasing after him between the people who were just there chit-chatting and having drinks, when all of a sudden we heard the loudest roar all over. Was something I still have chills. That noise penetrated every single atom in your body because somehow felt the vibration so intense that it's hard to forget. Everyone got down the floor to cover, and I went down and grabbed the kid to protect him. All of a sudden, inside the room, everyone saw a huge flash that resembled the sun in the sky as bright light that penetrated the walls at us. And we also heard an explosion that lasted several minutes. Everyone was terrified, scared, and truly confused. The lights at the party were off, as well as the cell phone signals. People were just like zombies. Their gaze was completely gone. As we were on an underground complex, we heard buildings falling down, screams of people. People wanted to get out, but the view was so condensed of so much debris falling down they could not see at all. I told them not to get out because of the radiation. Everyone stayed inside crying. I don't know how long we stayed inside there, but it seemed that was another day or the next day because we could see some light coming from the window as everyone was frightened and confused. We heard several military jets flying really low between the city. They seemed that they had been flying for hours. The noise was truly terrifying as we could tell nothing was going to be the same anymore. And several minutes passed when all of a sudden we didn't hear any jets, but we heard another bomb hitting. This time I told everyone to not look at the light and stay down. And that's when I wake up. So this dream was not the typical thing I do or dream about. So I don't know, but I hope people are not scared, but they get prepared because I had a feeling that this was message or something real, even though it was a dream. But I have the same truly vivid dream that happened to me when I dreamed about the Twin Towers going down months before it happened. So I think this is something that we should be truly aware and prepared, not to scare anyone or frighten people, but to really question everything and I guess prepare because there is something going on. And please don't be scared, just prepare. As we continue with Parravicini and the hour 11, and it reads as follows: Guerrilla warfare in the world. Beginning of the end. Death. As we can see here, he's pointing out that these conflicts that are affecting will expand and it will increase to different countries, areas that have never been touched before. As we see in this psychography, the War of the Three will launch anger in misunderstandings. They will see without seeing. They will act without acting well. They will be in destruction of the end. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. In here, for sure, is obviously he pointing out at the three major powers in the world. That will is US, China, and Russia. As you can see, even in the picture, the guy is wearing a Russian hat or something like that. And the Asian guy in the middle is wearing something like a hook from the dead. As you can see it clearly in the drawing, marked as red, as well as other two people that pointing out at the hook guy, right? That will be US and the other one I believe is NATO. But judge for yourself. So that means that these three global powers are going to be the ones leading to the Third World War, as you see in this psychography. The betrayal between the great leaders of the world. It arrived. Even more so, it is not the reality of your reality. It will be at the 11th hour. That means that this is going to lead to the Third World War, and it will come as a surprise, as we see in the psychography. Danger Atom. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1938, as well as The Atom Will Arrive and Regine. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. In here he says that for sure the major global powers are gonna use these insane weapons. As we read this psychography, circus world, between laughs and dances, between fights of new pleasures, the end will come. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1938. In here, Parravicini foresees the future because it's crazy to see how he saw the circus world being developed as we see it right now so far, taking in consideration that he spoke about it in 1938. As we read the next psychography, cybernization will be a worldwide human plague without a cure. Its destruction in men will be a disturbance in the desperate and blind world of the 11th hour. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. In here he's talking about something, maybe perhaps it could be a EMP attack. That is in the movie we saw the fifth wave as an electric magnetic attack that prevented people from using any electronics. But also it could be a solar event that could fry our electric apparatus. So that means that all electrical power will be gone, leaving people in the Stone Age. As this psychography, we see that wrote Parravicini, and it reads as follows: Science kills science. Technology kills humanity. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. As we see here, Parravicini really knew that our technology will be a serious problem in the future. So he's warning us about not leaving technology, everything on technology hands, because it will be a completely devastating problem in the future. So we need to be aware of that. As we continue with the 11th hour, which is the endless end. Not everything is dark and gloomy, as we're gonna have the arrival of these special kids, which are in the hour 11. I happened to notice, as I was placing color on Parravicini's drawing, it looks like to me that it's the same Virgin of Guadalupe sign with the moon on her feet. But judge for yourself. But let's continue with the psychography, and it reads as follows. The new child arrives at the 11th hour. He already be in the fire instant. They will teach. As Parravicini says, the new boy will stop being a doll to join the responsibility of the 11th hour. The new child also be young and mature man. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. In here, he's talking about several of them teaching the world. They will arrive at a critical point of humankind to warn and teach about love and tolerance. As we're gonna need to have this kind of tolerance in order to endure these harsh times at the hour 11, as well as having love and compassion for all life. These truly special people are gonna be the ones helping to change the world. And they're gonna be all types of ages. These kids are the famous star seeds. And they're gonna be raising awareness and teaching the world into a better way of approaching the situations in different ways, which will have more logic and according to the law of life. Because they know very well they come from different star systems to renovate consciousness. As we read in this psychography, the new child will say, "My parents, I am in you and you in me," to bring renewal to the outdated world. And the world at the 12th hour will be Benjamin Solary Parravicini. At that time, the new child will teach the adult, and the adult will listen because the fire will arrive, and the hour of superior procreation and the Orden Magna. That means the Great Order. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. In here he's talking about these special people that will come at a critical moment in time to warn about the imminent Third World War and the earth changes that humanity will face. As we continue with the 3 hours, which is the end of the end. As we continue with the hour 12, which reads as follows: Men meditate. The sea will advance. It will flood in indulges. It will melt the polar caps. The axis of the earth will return, and the equator will be poles. End of finals. Benjamin Solary Parravicini. Prophecy of 1937. In here, he's really talking about a pole shift that will be imminent. This pole shift will drastically change all the structures of the earth. As you can search about this type of information in the YouTube channel Suspicious Observers, as the planet already is starting to change since the magnetic fields are losing stability. But this is not the first time it happened to other civilizations, as you can search in different records. it will be a good idea to watch the movie The Cosmic Secret so you know a little bit about the history of our planet. The only thing I didn't like about that movie is that they tend to sugarcoat the events that will be coming by claiming to just be positive. Meanwhile, the main characters move and already relocated to safer areas. So I just want to make clear that there's a lot of misinformation in regards of hearing catastrophic events. As they say, we create our own reality, but we need to be aware of the reality of our planet as a whole. I know there is a lot of people who they just trying to avoid and automatically think they're going to another reality. Some other people have claim and have the audacity of telling people that they have kicked out all the bad guys and we are all good. Meanwhile, if you check your latest news, we see that it's definitely not truth because North Korea is blasting missiles on the sky and different crazy stuff going on, as you can see on your screen. So we need to be aware that our reality, as Jesus didn't sugarcoat the book of Revelations, he was straightforward. And I think it's good to be honest and prepare, not to be on fear, but prepare. As we continue with the Hour 12, and it reads as follows: the ideas in between on reasons will untangle the ideas until the reason. It will be at the hour 12. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. In here he's talking about whatever problems we have in the past will resolve. But I think that will be after the pole shift, and I guess we have to start fresh without all these things that is blocking humanity to evolve in order to continue progressing. As we read the next psychography, the new child will appear at the end of the test and will experience chaos, but it will not succumb. South America will keep them. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1938. In here he's talking about the safe areas that will protect these special people from harm. And it's definitely with them that a new civilization will start, as they will bring a new beginning with the help of our cosmic friends, working alongside with Jesus. As we see here, with the help coming along, since the rescue squad is already here. As we read, it's already time 12. In the change of the change. In the price of the 7 prices. At the end of the end of the end. In the beginning of the beginning. In the beginning. Because the sun will come in light. Because the righteous will come. Because the sun will come. Because love will come. because it will come. Jesus. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. And here Parravicini points out multiple times that Jesus is definitely coming back in the hour 12, as we see in this other psychography. The change started at the hour 10. More will be the change in the change of the change in the hour 12. It will be in the beginning. It will be Jesus. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. In here, he's definitely confirming that after the hour 12, we will have the presence of Jesus coming back, as we see in this psychography. And humanity will rise to see Jesus. Wow, this psychography is truly shocking. Jesus coming back has a new look. But thinking about it, it makes perfect sense because 2000 years he will, I imagine he will have changed his fashion style. And also coming from the stars will imply more protective outwear that will protect from radiation and stuff like that. Which in fact makes perfect sense is even our own astronauts wear special suits to be in space and also to be protected, so that means that wearing that will be in fact will be very logical thing to do. But a lot of people or most people will think he's gonna be wearing the regular stuff he wore 2000 years ago. That will be very illogic and unrealistic, to be honest. If he comes in a physical form, that will make more sense if he's coming back from the stars. And it seems to me that he will be coming back at the end of hour 12, when humanity passes into a new beginning in time. As we read the next psychography, and it reads as follows. The superior man, aware of the hour, at the 12th hour, will preach to the child who arrives, and the child will say with him, "It is already Jesus." Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. I guess he's talking about a new generation after the hour 12 that will know for sure the approaching of coming of Jesus. As we continue with the next psychographies, the apocalypse of the new fires, of the bomb, of the mushroom, explosion of germs, of the gases, of the acids, it will end at the beginning, in the kingdom. Benjamin Solary Parravicini, 1972. And here he is really talking about the end of the madness we're going to be facing in the very near future. And after that will be truly amazing for sure. After that, humanity will start a new beginning. As we read in this psychography, to pain must be given love. To death, life. To hunger, sustenance. At the end, beginning. Parravicini, in here is truly amazing and beautiful reflection we should do and start doing. Sorry I make this video a bit long, but wasn't more than 3 hours. I would like to thank Foro Argento for making it possible for people to read properly the drawings of Parravicini. I have placed in here some of the original drawings of Parravicini. I'm sorry for my voice being a little rough, but I was a bit sick, that's why. I hope you understand. Anyways, I hope you like this video. And as you can hear, the time is up. Thank you for watching and see you in another dimension.